Ladies and gentlemen, are you grappling with tech problems outside the ring? Well, today's episode is powered by the tech titans at Eek Limited. Now, just like a seasoned wrestler knows how to execute the perfect suplex, the brainiacs at Eek, armed with Ivy League smarts, are here to tag in and take your tech challenges to the mat. You know how every wrestler has their unique finisher? Well, Eek Limited has a squad of engineering and software mavericks who don't just build software, they craft digital championship belts. Whether you're a solo contender looking to climb the ranks or a business with a stable of champions, Eek turns your ideas into a main event showcase. Think about it. Every wrestler needs a great manager, and in the world of tech, that's Eek. Need a killer app with AI features sharper than a razor's edge? Eek's the corner man you want. Creating a game that's as engaging as a Royal Rumble? They'll help you develop it with AI testing so advanced, it's like having a wrestling legend as your coach. Eek helps you and your business build any software you need. They handle the mobile app development with AI integration services into your existing website or mobile app, AI-enhanced e-commerce solutions on Spotify and Etsy, data analysis in Python and R, game design and development, UI UX design for enterprise software and apps. And hey, if you're looking to sell your software business or want to monetize your products like a pay-per-view spectacular, Eek's got the business acumen to make that happen. They're not just about the tech, they're about the triumph. Got a burning question or an idea that's ready to rumble? Reach out to Eek Limited. They're always ready for a chat about anything. So don't get pinned down by tech troubles. Tag in Eek Limited, that's EKKE Limited, and turn your project into the heavyweight champion of the world. So head over to eek.limited, that's EKKE.LTD.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me. Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? Guys and girls, welcome back to another edition, a very special edition of the SmackDown review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I am one of the hosts of this show, Michael Ritter. You can find me on X at Michael5Ritter, on Instagram at MichaelRitter5, and also one of the hosts of the Football Function Podcast, available on all your podcasting platforms, including the one that you got this show on right here. Now, before I get into anything wrestling, there's a lot of wrestling stuff to talk about. I'm actually recording this at 10:30 p.m. So as you guys know, I usually have been recording these shows on Saturday morning, but it was too juicy of an episode to let wait. I had to hop on here as soon as I could to talk about it with you guys. But before I do that, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the Football Function Podcast because we recently climbed up the charts in India. As crazy as that is, the Football Function Podcast climbed up to the number 51 spot in the football category in the country of India, which is the 7th largest country in the world. So that is a big deal, a big milestone, a nice little, ribbon to put on the refrigerator or something like that. It was just a nice thing to get, a nice thing to see when you're building something from the ground up. That it's actually making some progress, and it is actually growing if you look at it in a sense of like a house plant or something like that. But I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that has listened. If you are somebody who has gone from the WWE Podcast over there to check out my other podcast, I certainly appreciate it. Those of you that have contributed, I definitely appreciate you guys. We just had Frankie Graham on the show, who's going to be coming on the SmackDown review very, very soon as well to review an episode with me. I can't wait for that. I honestly wish that I would have been able to get him on this week. Now, it kind of worked out because he works on Friday nights. That's what he told me. So we're going to have to, whenever I have him on, we're going to have to do it on Saturdays. But this one in particular, it just kind of worked out because of how big of a show it is that I had to do it this Friday night, and I didn't want it to wait. But nonetheless, definitely looking forward to getting into all the juicy things. I don't have any, internet opinions to go off of. The show's so fresh. It just ended not that long ago, so I'm not able to gauge the thoughts of other wrestling personalities and kind of just see kind of where they are on certain situations, and maybe I missed something, maybe something went right over my head. It's nice to be able to, I guess, read the room a little bit before I come on the show and give my thoughts on this. But I am looking forward to going old school. This is like an After Dark episode, not the typical After Dark that you're used to getting here on the WWE podcast. This one is more so literally, because I mentioned it's after 10:30 p.m. So I'm looking forward to getting this show done and, maybe going inside, watching a movie, and enjoying a nice Saturday. But before that, the goosebumps were out in full effect because of how this show ended. And we're going to get to it. We're going to talk about the show in chronological order, so you're going to have to bear with me. But we can go ahead and just mention what happened, because you guys already know by now. The Rock showed up to close SmackDown. Didn't say a word. There was no need for him to say a word. We'll get into it, obviously. But the goosebumps were out. It was just a very wild scene and a very wild way to end this episode of SmackDown. But we are officially on the road to WrestleMania. And Triple H did not hesitate to let us know that with his actions and with his booking creative decisions. So off to a good start so far, at least from the SmackDown side of things. They did show a lot of Raw highlights tonight, which is something that I actually appreciated, because I don't get to watch Raw like I normally used to and like I wish I could. So it was nice to get filled in. And WrestleMania season is obviously a good time to get as caught up on Raw as you possibly can. But this specific episode of SmackDown, it aired on February 2nd, 2024, from Birmingham, Alabama. Location breakdown brought to you per usual by our guy, the humble, none other than DJ Kuzmo. And if you guys haven't already, go check out Kuz Loves Wrestling. DJ Kuzmo trying to launch another little project of his, and I'm definitely going to support it. It's one of my favorite new follows, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to come. He was able to provide the location of this episode of SmackDown in the dirty South, Birmingham, Alabama, not very far from Atlanta. This is one of the last stops. Like on my drive, whenever I drive from Amarillo, Texas, to Atlanta, Georgia, it's a 16-hour drive, and you only stop in like really, really big cities, like state capitals. You stop in Oklahoma City, you stop in Little Rock, you stop in Memphis, Birmingham, Alabama, obviously, and then Atlanta, Georgia, and there's like 5 hours in between damn near all of those big cities. But one time in particular, we stopped in Birmingham, Alabama, and we went to a Cracker Barrel, and it was probably the worst Cracker Barrel I've ever been to in my entire life. Just a quick story. I'm not going to rant on this. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of wrestling, but since this episode of SmackDown took place in Birmingham, Alabama, I felt like I should probably fill you guys in on a little bit of story, because it kind of distracted me. Every time they mentioned that they were in Birmingham, I was like, oh man, I just thought about that Cracker Barrel, because there are Cracker Barrels everywhere whenever you get to the South. You know, when you're in those southern states, Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia, you pretty much see Cracker Barrels just like you see McDonald's, you know, or whatever's that really popular fast food restaurant in the geographical region that you're in. You know, everywhere's different. I know California maybe a little bit more In and Out. Here in Texas, we see a lot of McDonald's, we see a lot of Whataburger, things like that. But Cracker Barrels are very, very common. Damn near as common as like a Walmart. Like when you're driving on the highway, you just see these bad boys left and right. But we went to one of them. We got some quick breakfast, and I tried to dip a chicken strip into some gravy. And as you guys know, whenever you dip a chicken strip into gravy, you should pull the chicken strip out and there should be gravy on it. Well, for whatever reason, I dipped the chicken strip in the gravy and I pulled it out, and there was no gravy on the chicken strip. The chicken strip, or the gravy, just kind of moved like Jell-O almost. And it was just one of the most disgusting things. It was just, I didn't expect it. And obviously I went the rest of the meal without the gravy. I really wasn't feeling it at that point, but now I just try to avoid Cracker Barrels, you know, any chance I get, especially not the one in my local town, because I'm going to be honest, chicken and dumplings, not sure if you guys are a fan of chicken and dumplings, but they are so damn good, and it's just one of my favorite things to eat. And the ones at Cracker Barrel are extremely good if you haven't already gotten them. Oh yeah, mac and cheese as the side as well. Just a little advice from one person who loves to eat to possibly another. But all right, no more quick stories, no more opening show banter. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes. There we go, just more food puns of this episode. So this episode started off with, first off, Corey Graves being shown at the commentary table, which isn't anything new. However, he was in the play-by-play seat, typically where we've seen Michael Cole and Kevin Patrick, who was recently let go. So my curiosity went to wondering, is Corey Graves going to be the play-by-play guy for SmackDown going forward? Or is this just like a temporary thing, excuse me, until we can get somebody more long-term in there? Because Corey Graves is so well at the color aspect of this, like the color commentator, which is where Wade Barrett is. It's where Pat McAfee has been. Jerry Lawler made that, a famous role. So did Taz on SmackDown, alongside guys like Michael Cole, Jim Ross. Obviously, just like I just mentioned, Kevin Patrick was there as well. So I'm curious if this is going to be the new commentary team for SmackDown going forward, or if they're just kind of using this as a bridge team to kind of get us to the next long-term booth that we're going to have on SmackDown. But at this point, things change so frequently in that department that it's almost not even worth wasting any brain thought. Just appreciate a good team whenever we have one, like we did tonight. Corey Graves did a phenomenal job, and just kind of go from there. But I mean, I guess I'll kind of monitor that to see how they handle that going forward. Even if they have already announced it that he's going to be the play-by-play guy, if they did announce it, then I missed it, because you guys already know, for spoiler reasons, I don't follow WWE on Twitter, because I mean, especially for tonight, like if I would have watched this episode of SmackDown and had the ending spoiled, I would have absolutely, or spoiled like on the internet by Twitter. Like if you're scrolling through Twitter and you just see something like that, yeah, I would have probably not been very happy. But anyways, Corey Graves, phenomenal job as the play-by-play guy, and I would be happy to see him continue in that role. You might as well. He's already been the color guy for so long. Maybe try a new seat out, let him have a little bit of a new role, a different approach to him breaking down the matches every week. I'm sure he would enjoy it as well, but you do have to come from a little bit, of a more objective approach. You can't be biased, although if you guys have seen Michael Cole and Bayley over the years, there's kind of been that love-hate relationship where he's always giving her crap. He did the same thing with Top Dollar. So as I'm saying that about being unbiased and objective, one of the greatest of all time, Michael Cole, proves that sometimes you can get away with, heckling someone or picking on someone that you just might not like that much. But the show actually opens with Logan Paul. He comes out, takes a massive shot at Alabama, says he was going to be nice, but because they greeted him so rudely, he just wants them to know, hey, this town sucks, this place sucks, and he can't wait to get out of there. And he also mentions that he underestimated Kevin Owens. He credits KO for doing more damage to him than Floyd Mayweather did. And then Logan says that he, referring to himself, is the toughest person on the quote-unquote brittle roster. And then he takes a jab at CM Punk for tearing his tricep. Out comes Kevin Owens. He calls his loss at the Royal Rumble a moral victory because it felt good to knock the hell out of Logan Paul. And he's ready to restore dignity in the United States Championship once and for all. Logan chimes in and says that Kevin Owens blew his one and only shot at the U.S. title because he took the bait whenever Logan Paul placed the brass knuckles in the ring, that Kevin Owens was not smart enough to do the wise move, and that Logan Paul was playing chess, not checkers. He then adds that he's going to find a new and better challenger, and Kevin Owens can go focus on whatever it is that he does, while Logan focuses on what he does, which is everything amazing in his own words. And then he obviously teases a one-on-one match that's about to happen with Kevin Owens and Austin Theory. This just made me realize how elite of a heel Logan Paul is. I mention it damn near every time he shows up on the television screen. I would like to see more of him on SmackDown, especially since we're gearing into WrestleMania season. Hopefully it just kind of gels with his schedule that way organically, that he kind of already was prepared to dedicate some time to the WWE, because, it's the biggest time of the year. He's currently a champion, and he's going to have to go into that card with a challenger. So obviously, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but Logan Paul is definitely going to need a new challenger. And this leads us into the one-on-one match. Austin Theory versus Kevin Owens with Logan Paul on commentary. And he says he's going to absolutely make fun of Kevin Owens. He pretty much tells him that right to his face. But he did show him some respect, saying that Kevin Owens is someone that he's not going to overlook. And if Kevin Owens can work his way up to getting another opportunity against Logan Paul for that championship, that Logan Paul won't be ignorant. He won't approach that match unprepared, and he'll definitely, he won't take Kevin Owens lightly, as a way to phrase that. But anyways, Grayson Waller distracted the referee while Logan Paul slid Austin Theory some brass knuckles. Again, this is just what he does, I guess. But it wasn't enough to give Austin Theory the win. Kevin Owens eliminates Waller from the equation and gets the win by just a knockout punch, maybe even a stunner. Not really sure exactly what the finish was. That's on me. I definitely know that he hit him with a knockout punch, though. And then Logan Paul gets chased out of the arena by Kevin Owens. A nice little funny ending, a nice way to make Kevin Owens look strong and more than capable of getting a rematch against Logan Paul for that United States Championship. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up earning it very soon, as quickly as Elimination Chamber. It just makes sense for Logan Paul to get this one out of the way before we move on to WrestleMania, although they could stretch this bad boy, and we could end up seeing that exact match, Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens, for the United States Championship on the WrestleMania 40 card. Continuing on here, we get some backstage action. Naomi and Tiffany Stratton are both shown walking out, respectively, not at the same time, of Nick Aldis' office, holding their new SmackDown contracts. I love this. I love seeing both of these. The SmackDown division needs all the talent, or the SmackDown roster, I should say, needs all of the talent that it can get, whether it's women, whether it's men, NXT call-ups, Royal Rumble winners. It really doesn't matter. Just, come one, come all, and we will accept you with open arms. So I was more than happy to see Tiffany Stratton make her appearance coming up from NXT as a call-up. I think she's going to have a bright future here on SmackDown. But she starts off on the wrong foot a little bit. We see Bianca Belair, we see Michin, maybe another one. I think there might have been another women's wrestler back there. Cannot remember the exact group that was there, but I know Bianca was there, and I definitely know Michin was there because Tiffany Stratton makes a statement by smacking the taste out of Michin's mouth, which obviously sets up a one-on-one later on in the show. Bianca Belair, they take things, she takes her talents from that little bit of a segment to another one. This time she's backstage speaking with Nick Aldis in his office, and Logan Paul barges in and demands a challenger to prove that he's not, quote-unquote, a part-timer. He's tired of people calling him a part-timer. Bianca didn't appreciate being interrupted, and those two go back and forth, and, Logan Paul takes a shot at her, and, they kind of keep going back and forth. It was actually kind of funny. Like, this is a segment that I feel like we're probably not going to see the last of. Just a pairing, maybe, is how I should have phrased that. I think we're going to see the Street Profits have a run-in with Logan Paul, possibly Montez Ford. If he ever were to get a singles run, I feel like he would be a perfect challenger right out the gate for Logan Paul, although the whole heel/babyface thing kind of complicates things, because if he was going to split, you would expect it to be a heel turn for him to, turn on Angelo Dawkins. But since they're a heel group, maybe a babyface turn? I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little bit too far into the woods at this point. But the exchange between Logan Paul and Bianca Belair is absolutely worth you going back and checking it out. Maybe just watch like a 3-minute video if you could find it on YouTube, or just go back to whatever cable provider you have, however it is that you watch SmackDown. If you DVR'd it, just rewind it. It's worth it. I promise. This is a nice little entertaining segment here. But we continue with this backstage trend. We get Santos Escobar. They have I don't know if it's a video package or just a promo cut from somewhere else. But long story short, Santos and Legado del Fantasma, they make a toast to honor, loyalty, and Legado del Fantasma, and essentially make a pact to destroy the LWO. They also introduce Elektra Lopez. Apparently she is going to be a mainstay here with this group. I feel like it just makes them stronger. We get more additions as well to more factions later on in the show, which I felt like I said, man, SmackDown got stronger tonight. It really did. And not only were the factions solidified a little bit, but also just the main event picture. I mean, I can go on and on about the way that this show delivered, and I think that, if you feel differently, I'm not saying that you're wrong by any means, but I would definitely love to hear why you don't feel like this episode of SmackDown absolutely was a home run, because I truly think that, from the matches that they had, from storyline development, character development, when you look at what happened to Bayley, like, there's so many things that took place on this episode of SmackDown, and it just, I'm not going to give out like ratings or anything like that, but man, it definitely got a passing grade for sure with flying colors. Continuing on here, we get a fatal 4-way tag team championship qualifier match. We're going to have another Fatal 4-Way next week where the winner will go one-on-one against, or not one-on-one, I guess 2-on-2. It's going to be a tag team match up against the winner of this match just to get a rightful set of challengers to go after the tag team championships, I assume, at Elimination Chamber. That just seems like something that they would do to give us a quick feud, a quick, cheap, number one contender. I'm always for a tournament, though. If this is how you do it, whether it's, several first-round matchups to get to a second round, or if you just go right out of the gate, let's eliminate 3 teams right now by having a Fatal 4-Way, that makes a lot of sense as well. As long as the challengers earn their number one contendership, then I'm totally for it. And we saw Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate do that exact thing here whenever they defeated Pretty Deadly, Legado del Fantasma, and LWO. It was a pretty impressive showing by Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. They obviously get one step closer to that championship match at Elimination Chamber in Australia. And it just seems like because of the trend WWE has been doing, like when they went to Puerto Rico and we saw Bad Bunny do his thing, obviously Sami Zayn in Montreal, Drew McIntyre whenever they went overseas for Clash at the Castle. The foreign wrestlers seem to get the spotlight around this time whenever we go overseas, and I'm totally for that. It makes all the sense in the world. Why wouldn't you want to appeal to that audience and give somebody fresh an opportunity? I feel like, it's been good for some of the wrestlers that have gotten those opportunities. Zelina Vega was one whenever she went one-on-one with Rhea Ripley. There's good things to just giving somebody an opportunity. Even if you know that they do not stand a chance, it's more than worth it to give them the rub and the championship opportunity at least. But that does take me to Damage Control and some of the stuff that happened. And I can't help but, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but I've been referencing the 2005 Dave Bautista leaving Evolution. That whole storyline, I've been noticing the similarities and, the parallels along the way, along this ride. It's just been damn near almost unprecedented the way that they've copy and pasted it. And I'm all for it because it was a great way to do it. It was a great formula back then. And they pretty much did the exact same thing because there was an episode of Monday Night Raw right around the time that Dave Bautista was going to have to make his choice. Triple H or JBL? Which championship are you going to go for at WrestleMania 21? At this point, Randy Orton was already out of Evolution, so he was, way off doing his own thing. But Evolution still consisted of Triple H, Ric Flair, and Dave Bautista. And while Dave Bautista was outside of the locker room, Triple H and Ric Flair thought that he was completely nowhere near the locker room. But they're kind of taking some shots at Bautista. They say that he has $1 million body and a 10-cent brain. And, of course, that he's going to make the wrong decision here. And that they're the ones that have been trying to frame JBL, having these hit attacks, like where they tried to run over Bautista with a limousine with those long horns on it, So there's so many similarities because now Bayley overheard Io Sky and Damage Control, specifically the Kabuki Warriors, saying that Bayley was quote-unquote done tonight. And Bayley kind of walks out, showing that she heard what was said. They didn't know that she heard what was said. And immediately I knew, ooh, this is going to get good. So they head out to the ring. We're supposed to get Bayley's decision, and she kind of goes off a little bit. She's talking about how she's really done everything at WrestleMania at this point. She's hosted it. She's defended the Raw Women's Championship. She's defended the SmackDown Women's Championship. She's won the Tag Team Championship. She's done it all pretty much. And this one's a little bit different because it's personal. She won the Royal Rumble. She went through 29 other women to earn her spot where she can choose to go after some gold. And she says that she could easily go after Rhea Ripley. It would make sense, to go after someone as talented as her, get that one-on-one match at WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley has already had matches at WrestleMania with the likes of Charlotte, Becky Lynch. Why not add somebody like Bayley to that resume? And it would be a hell of a program, I think. But Bayley mentions that there's another avenue that she can go that might just be a little bit different and a little bit more personal. And she looks at Damage Control. And she kind of just calls him out like, are you guys done laughing now? You guys have been making fun of me. You guys have been taking shots at me, talking behind my back. She speaks Japanese here. She takes a little bit of a shot at them in their own language, which I knew threw them off. And she pretty much says that, she's learned that from all of the stuff that she's heard them say about her behind her back while she's there. It's just been a nightmare for Bayley to be in this group. I feel bad for her. And I've seen this coming from a mile away. I knew that this was going to happen. Bayley chooses Io Sky, but before she's able to choose Io Sky officially, she gets attacked from behind by the Kabuki Warriors. They're pretty much beating the living hell out of her until she gets a steel pipe out from behind the steps. She kind of hides it. She takes a shot at Asuka. She takes a shot at Kairi Sane. And then we get a nice visual face-off with Io holding up the belt, Bayley holding up the pipe. Io makes a run for it, obviously, and, Bayley lets her know, I'll see you at WrestleMania. So we have the Women's Championship match set or the WWE Undisputed Women's Champion, whatever they call Io Sky's championship, because Rhea's the Women's World Champion. So Io Sky versus Bayley. And it seems like maybe Nia Jax might be on the way to take on Rhea Ripley. I don't know if that's a WrestleMania-worthy match, but nonetheless, we do have the SmackDown picture, and this storyline is unfolding exactly like we thought it was, guys. Bravo. If you're here with me, if you've been listening to these predictions where we called this out, where we pretty much said that this is exactly how this storyline was going to develop, been talking about it for damn near a year now, yeah, we just whatever you're drinking, whether it's water, whether it's Gatorade, sweet tea, Dr. Pepper, any type of beverage, go ahead and raise a glass, have a little toast. I'm holding up a water bottle right now because we called that, and we deserve a little bit of a vindication because you make a lot of fantasy bookings all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've been wrong. Thought I saw a program unfolding right before my eyes. Bam, they go a completely different way. And, I always appreciate those moments because, they don't happen every day whenever you actually can predict something from several months out. But anyways, let's continue on here. We get a 6-man tag match, the Final Testament versus Lashley and the Prophets. The match itself really was irrelevant. It was the post-match beatdown that the Final Testament was trying to do to Lashley and the Street Profits, and the numbers are finally evened out a little bit. We get B-Fab joining Lashley and the Street Profits, whatever their group is called. And this is something we kind of mentioned. We saw them tease it several weeks ago, and we never touched back on it. We're like, what happened to B-Fab? She's been talking to Lashley. Is she going to join this group? This is where she belongs. This is where we need to see her. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, if we're going to get the most out of B-Fab, she looked better tonight, obviously taking a shot at Scarlett, kind of there saving the day for Bobby Lashley, telling him to get out of the way whenever Karrion Kross was trying to sneak up from behind. She had more of an impact and more of an impression tonight than she's had in her entire career on the WWE, or at least on the main roster on SmackDown with Hit Row and, all that good stuff. I will say she did a hell of a job reintroducing herself tonight. She has new hair. She looks way better. She looks way more confident. I am all for B-Fab being in this group, and I think we're going to see some pretty good stuff from it. Continuing on here, Braun Breaker shown backstage holding a SmackDown contract. Looks like he's about to sign it until Adam Pearce pulls a slick move. Things get heated between Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. They kind of, Nick Aldis says, hey, you're kind of, busting my balls here, man. You're kind of really ruining my groove. I'm trying to sign superstars. You're telling them to wait till Monday. Why don't you go see you on Monday? Which is exactly what Braun Breaker does. He takes the contract with him, and he tells Adam Pearce, I'll see you on Monday. Spoiler alert, I think he's going to sign to Raw, which is why I was kind of, slapping my knee, punching air whenever I saw Braun Breaker leave unsigned. It's almost like a head coach, like a free agent, whenever you see a visit, or like a free agent takes a visit to a team. If you're a fan of that team, you're saying, do not let him leave without a contract. Make sure that he signs before you let him go visit other teams. It seems like, to me, we just lost a free agent, and he's probably going to sign with the Red Brand, but it's okay because things get even more heated with Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce whenever Jade Cargill walks in and wants to talk with the SmackDown general manager. And Nick Aldis does not kindly ask Adam Pearce to leave. He tells him to get out of there right now. And Adam Pearce takes off his glasses. He doesn't back down at all. And, I'm liking what I'm seeing between these two. They're button heads. They want their respective brands to be better, to be the better brand, I should say. And they're both on the way. Like, that's one thing we can go ahead and talk about here. Like, this is the best we've seen the brand split in a long time because we have general managers that are doing a good job waving the flag of their brand, showing up on the others to make sure they get the key free agents. If we can keep this brand thing kind of solidified where they don't cross over, you guys know how I feel about that. I think it's going to make the company a hell of a lot better. And Raw and SmackDown, both as respective brands, that's going to be better. And we're just going to enjoy it more because it's actually going to push the talent, the depth on this roster. We need two brands. Like, we really do, guys. It's something that I don't feel like is debatable at this point because of how good the roster is. If you have the same guys going back and forth on the same show, you're not going to utilize all the talent that you have at your disposal. So you have to maximize what you have. And doing that, that's making the brand split alive and very strong. You could even bring NXT up as a full-time third brand, like an official third brand. And I think that would even be better too. So I'm all for change. I'm all for this show, all shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT being the best they could possibly be, because the roster is probably the best that it's been in damn near like 10 plus years. So I'm all for the direction that WWE is going. The direction we are going to go here on the SmackDown review is talking about Cody's choice for the main event of WrestleMania. But Roman Reigns comes out first. He cuts a scolding promo on Seth Rollins, pretty much just discredits every single thing that Seth Rollins said. He takes shots at, Roman Reigns for taking time off. Roman Reigns just absolutely dunks on him by saying, yes, I work 10 times less than you, but I also make 10 times more than you. He goes on and on, calls him his little brother. I mean, this is another one. Like, go watch this segment if you haven't. It's probably going to draw millions and millions of views on YouTube. That was a pun there, millions and millions. Obviously, we're teasing The Rock here. It's going to draw numbers. It's going to be a massive hit. And you can add to that by going to check it out, even if you've already seen it. This is a very historic moment. This is probably the biggest main event on Friday Night SmackDown that I've seen in a very long time. Like, seriously, this sets up a huge program, a huge feud that we've been waiting on for years, and we finally get it. I know Matt's probably just absolutely losing his you-know-what. And XL, man. WrestleMania XL. That means big, extra large. What bigger way to go than The Rock versus Roman Reigns? But let's get there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He cuts a scolding promo, Roman that is, on Seth Rollins. He then tells Cody Rhodes, quite simply, he can go for the number 2 title or take a crack at number 1 again. And I will say, Cody Rhodes, that loss to Roman Reigns, the only loss that he's had in 2 full years. Just think about that. That's as good as you can possibly be without being Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns, this dude on this historic streak, this historic title reign, he is the only person to pin you, excuse me, in 2 full years. So clearly, you are the guy, you are the face of the company. And I mean, man, just seeing that, you could take a crack at number 1 again just brought back that match, and you know how close it was. Cody Rhodes does come out right after this. He tells Jimmy Uso, tells Solo, Paul Heyman, he tells him to leave the ring. He just asks Roman Reigns to have the ring alone. Roman agrees, tells them to leave the room, and now we finally have Cody in the ring one-on-one with Roman Reigns. And Cody just mentions that he's been getting advice, from friends, from family, etc. But he also points out that Roman Reigns screwed him over at WrestleMania 39 last year. He tells him that he had him on the ropes. He had him closer to defeat than any other person that has challenged him has. And I don't think he's told a lie yet up to this point. But he also brings Seth Rollins into the equation. He says that he doesn't like Seth calling that championship the Hollywood title because it's still the most historic, it's still the most prestigious title in all of wrestling and the entire industry. And he still wants it. He turns his attention to describing and explaining what quote-unquote finishing the story means. He makes it abundantly clear. He wants that title. He wants everything, and he's coming for Roman Reigns, but not at WrestleMania. He says that one of the people who's been giving him advice knows him very well, and you hear the crowd just pick up on exactly what's going to happen. Us as viewers knew exactly what was going to happen. The camera angles were showing very quickly. The crowd just began to stand up and look towards the Jumbotron, and sure enough, if you smell, The Rock's music hit, and he comes out to the ring. Him and Cody Rhodes shake hands. Cody Rhodes leaves, and we get a face-off, a face-to-face, Roman Reigns and The Rock. And boy, oh boy, the goosebumps, the chills. I mean, this is going to be historic. We got it, guys. Like, it is here. We are going to get The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. It's not a made up fantasy booking in our head. It's not a match on 2K. It's no longer a hypothetical situation. Like, this is the real deal. It's going to happen. And you better buckle up, because I don't even know where to go from here. Like how do you build this match? They're both not on TV very often, and we're going to get them cutting off or like on location promos against each other, whether neither one of them are at the arena. You would anticipate that because we're so close to WrestleMania, they would start showing up a little bit more. But you can't make promises. They both have busy schedules. I know The Rock definitely does. And, you know, oh, man, this is elite stuff because they kind of fooled us all. I want to have a seat at the head of the table. Thought it could be a reference to him joining the board, you know, him joining TKO Sports. But that's not at all what happened. It's him challenging Roman Reigns for this championship. And I can't wait to get you guys' thoughts on this. Like, it's still so fresh. I didn't wait till the next day. So the internet has yet to react. I'm sure they're reacting, but I haven't gotten a chance to see anything yet. I can't wait to, you know, just chat with you guys about it. This was a monumental episode of SmackDown, a monumental finish without a doubt. We're going to be reviewing that segment for so long, so many years after this, because it set up one of the most historic matches that we've seen up to date. I will say it is a little bit bittersweet that we're breaking the triple threat main event match or main event triple threat match that we've gotten, you know, at WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 40 is going to be one-on-one, but I promise you it is going to be well worth it. And, you know, let the games begin, guys. It's time to get excited. This is the most important time of the year, and I know it comes up quickly. Seems like just yesterday we were getting ready for WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood, but the show rolls on, and The Rock is here. So I'm looking forward to getting you guys' thoughts on this. This does conclude the episode of SmackDown and the SmackDown review. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you guys will continue to show up, continue to listen to this show, as well as all of the other shows here on the WWE podcast, and hopefully you'll be kind enough to follow me over to my football podcast, the Football Function podcast, where we get into the Super Bowl. We're about to do the Super Bowl weigh-ins, get into the offseason where we have a lot of bonus content coming. A lot of good stuff as we get ready for draft season, free agency. You know, football never stops, just like wrestling. So you're always going to get your fix over there at the Football Function. But thank you guys so much. I hope you all have a phenomenal weekend. Walk passionately in the direction of your dreams. Happy February, and I'll talk to you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you grappling with tech problems outside the ring? Well, today's episode is powered by the Tech Titans at Eek Limited. Now, just like a seasoned wrestler knows how to execute the perfect suplex, the brainiacs at Eek, armed with Ivy League smarts, are here to tag in and take your tech challenges to the mat. You know how every wrestler has their unique finisher? Well, Eek Limited has a squad of engineering and software mavericks who don't just build software, they craft digital championship belts. Whether you're a solo contender looking to climb the ranks of or a business with a stable of champions, Eek turns your ideas into a main event showcase. Think about it. Every wrestler needs a great manager, and in the world of tech, that's Eek. Need a killer app with AI features sharper than a razor's edge? Eek's the corner man you want. Creating a game that's as engaging as a Royal Rumble? They'll help you develop it with AI testing so advanced, it's like having a wrestling legend as your coach. Eek helps you and your business build any software you need. They handle the mobile app development with AI integration services into your existing website or mobile app, AI-enhanced e-commerce solutions on Spotify and Etsy, data analysis in Python and R, game design and development, UI/UX design for enterprise software and apps. And hey, if you're looking to sell your software business or want to monetize your products like a pay-per-view spectacular, Eek's got the business acumen to make that happen. They're not just about the tech, they're about the triumph. Got a burning question or an idea that's ready to rumble? Reach out to Eek Limited. They're always ready for a chat about anything. So don't get pinned down by tech troubles. Tag in Eek Limited, that's EKKE Limited, and turn your project into the heavyweight champion of the world. So head over to eek.limited, that's EKKE.LTD.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.